Hey guys, welcome back to another video from Reef Drama. You've obviously clicked on the thumbnail because you're wondering what's happened. This is certainly a video that I never hoped that I would have to do. I'm certainly not about to sweep things under the rug and all of a sudden I've got some missing fish, or maybe even I've just gone out and bought some other fish to replace the fish that I've lost, because I think it's good for you guys to know exactly what has happened, and I know other YouTubers may sort of hide things, but I'm certainly not about to do that. So, what has happened? Well, most likely it is my fault. I did purchase 3 new Tangs. That was from a tank breakdown. Now, I watched these fish for quite some time at the original owner's location. I was checking for anything visually on the fish. I was looking for any clamped fins, anything like anything noticeable that would kind of put me off from purchasing that fish. I even got the guy to put a bit of food in so I could see them feeding, and they were feeding fine. They were swimming around perfectly all over the place, generally together as a little group of Tangs, which I only really went there to get the purple Tang. But when I saw all 3 of them swimming around together, well, I decided that I would purchase all 3. And I brought them home. I put them all into the same little plastic kind of fish tank that I've got, and then started the drip acclimation process over sort of some period of time. I even put a heater in the little fish tank, so I wasn't worried about the temperature dropping, so it would be maintained. And I made sure that the amount of water that was in that fish tank from the bags of water that the fish came in, that it was way more than double the amount. And as I say, it was a slow drip acclimation. Anyway, we get them in the tank. Everything's fine. Brilliant. They get on superbly well with everybody in the tank, and it really kind of enhanced the tank. Them swimming around, it totally changed the dynamics of the tank. 2.5 months went by. 2.5. No problems at all. Feeding perfectly, swimming around, everybody getting on, no issues. I go away on a Monday morning for work, and I come back on a Wednesday late afternoon. As you do if you are going away from time to time, leaving your tank, one of the first things that you do when you walk back in through the door is you come straight back to the tank to have a look and check on everything. I've got a camera, on it that I can visually see the tank when I'm away and all that sort of stuff. But anyway, came in, had a look. First thing I noticed was the sailfin Tang, which was one of the new 3 ones. White spot, really bad, everywhere, all over it. Nothing on any of the other fish, just that particular sailfin Tang. So immediately I got the Polyp Lab Reef Safe Medic, see it here, for white spot. Now, I have used this before. Great. It worked. Got rid of the white spot. Brilliant stuff. Well, got rid of the visual white spot. I understand white spot's generally always in your tank anyway. It's just whether it rears its ugly head or not. So I was dosing this anyway. And a couple of 3 days went by. The sailfin got worse. Really bad. Now it looks like it wasn't so much white spot where you could count the little white dots. It was more like someone had got talcum powder and thrown it at it. So that to me is potentially velvet, right? I don't know. I'm not, clued up that well, I suppose, with fish diseases and parasites and whatever else. But maybe it started off as white spot, transpired into marine velvet. So I needed copper. I needed to get the fish out, needed to treat with copper. So I immediately set up a little hospital tank in the garage, because my thought was I was just going to get that sailfin out, because she was like the worst, and I couldn't get copper anywhere. I Amazon, couldn't get it from local fish shops, phoned around, you know, local ones to try and drive to. They didn't have any, even like ones online. You know, I couldn't get anything. So no copper. It just seemed that when I needed copper, there was no copper, right, anywhere. So what I did was I did contact one of my local aquatic shops. Now they said that they did have some copper in, so I went there and it transpired that they didn't, and what they actually had was this stuff. Okay, so when I got back, I did put the sailfin into the little hospital tank, and then I started just dosing this into that tank with just the sailfin tang in. As I say, she was the worst. Then I started noticing there was a couple of little white spots on the fins of Piney, Porcupine Puffer. And I was still dosing the Polyp Lab stuff in the main tank, where the remainder of the fish was. So after about 2 days, I lost the male clownfish. The next day, the female clownfish, as well as the coral beauty. By now I'd been able to order some copper, and I was now just waiting for it to be delivered. I'd also already set up my quarantine tank in the lounge, and that was up and running, and it was just waiting for the copper. There's no point transferring the fish into it, as far as I was concerned, because there was no copper in the water. The next day, the fox face died. So by now, you know, I'm kind of at my wit's end. Those clownfish I'd had for nearly enough 9.5 years, you know. It was heartbreaking, really, to sort of see. It was really bad just to see the female clownfish swimming all over the tank looking for the male, you know, once he'd passed away. Anyway, the copper arrived, but by then, you know, I'd already lost both the clowns, the coral beauty, the fox face, and there was another one. I can't even remember what it was now. I've lost so many, it's just ridiculous. Anyway, it's on the thumbnail, right, of this video. Anyway, I get the copper. So all the fish, I try and then get out of the main tank, get it into the quarantine tank. That was a hell of a mission. I literally had to destroy the tank, get all the rocks out, get them into plastic containers on the floor, just to be able to try and scoop out the remainder of the fish. So it definitely wasn't an easy job. But I managed it, got them all in the quarantine tank, and started dosing the copper. Now, because of the porcupine puffer fish, I could not have the tank already at therapeutic level. So I just dosed a small amount to bring it up to 0.5, and then the next day up to 0.75, the next day up to 1.0, to slowly get it up to that 2.0 therapeutic level. That probably took maybe 6 days to get the copper level, you know, from 0 up to therapeutic level, with the fish being in the tank at the time. Unfortunately, day 3 of getting copper into the water to get it up to the therapeutic level, the Bengal cardinal passed away. So that was another one. So now we're down to 5 fish from like about 12. Oh, and of course, the purple tang and the other new tang that I purchased, the sailfin that was in the other little tank in the hospital tank. She was in there being dosed in this tank with this for about 5 days. She passed away. So lost the sailfin, and I think it was the day before, maybe the fox face, it was the purple tang. I can't remember now the exact sort of dates. But it was systematically one day, literally after the next, after the next, and after the next, I'd lose a fish. Because also, going back to what it might have been, because the clownfish first went, I was then thinking maybe Brooklynella. Again, really don't know. Anyway, the fish are in the QT. we get it to therapeutic level. We're down to, what was it? I said 5 fish now. And they've been in therapeutic level for virtually the whole 30 days. Unfortunately, one of the yellow wrasse jumped out. Typical. There was a smallest flipping gap, which I've now sorted. Smallest gap, just where the hang on the back filter kind of water falls into the tank. Just that little stretch. It was about like that long by about sort of that wide, and he managed to jump out of there. And yeah, unfortunately, I found him on the floor. So I'd lost the yellow wrasse. But at the moment, yes, it's not great. Obviously, not a brilliant situation to be in. It's been really, really hard. You know, almost to the point like, do I give up? But I can't give up. I'm not going to give up. I've just bought that flipping tank, you know, to start with. Plus, as far as I'm concerned, you know, with Piney, I've got responsibilities with him. I bought Piney as a tiny, tiny little porcupine puffer, and he's now like, you know, 10, 11 inches long. So I've certainly got responsibilities for him. So we will keep going. The main tank will be rescaped at some point. It's sitting there at the moment. It's not rescaped at the minute. Rock is just everywhere, and I just basically put it back in again. And the fish will be coming out of copper in the next, well, I think it's tomorrow, the 16th. 16th of September is the final copper day. So I've got some stuff that will neutralise the copper. I'll also do like a 50% water change. I'll do a couple of those as well. And then the fish will stay in that QT tank for a further, however long it is, 40 something odd days. Because the main tank will obviously sit fallow for 76, 77 days for whatever that disease was. Marine velvet, Brooklynella, who the hell knows. But we need that gone. So that's where we're at, guys. That's where we're at. But I just wanted to bring this update video to you so you knew kind of what was going on. And as I say, I'm not about to push things under the rug or hide things from you, or all of a sudden there's missing fish and then there's questions like, oh, where's that? You know, where's that fish gone? Where's that purple tang? Blah, blah, blah. That's what's happened. As I say, full responsibility. I wish I'd never put the 3 tangs into the tank now, because I'd probably still have all the other fish that I had in the first place. But the tank was missing. It was missing something, you know. There was just not much movement within the tank. Piney would be over there. The clownfish would be up on their mushrooms. The yellow wrasse would just be either behind a rock or in the sand. The coral beauty, again, hiding behind a rock. A little Bengal cardinal up in the top right hand corner. I needed something. But yeah, certainly learnt my lesson. From now on, I will be quarantining fish. Any fish I get, they will be going through some sort of quarantine. And if you can advise on maybe what the best quarantine structure looks like. Because I could have had those 3 tangs in a tank, and I could have watched them for up to 2.5 months. You know, and they still get this outbreak. What is that all about? How do you quarantine against that? 2.5 months. Anyway, guys, that's pretty much it for me. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe. Like the video. I need all the help I can get at the moment. Because now looks like I'm going to have to try and restock the tank with some new fish. So if you've got any suggestions on new fish, stick them down in the comment section below, as well as your kind of best quarantine solutions. You know, should that be straight 14 days copper and then maybe another 14 days of just watching, or, you know, just a month's worth of watching? But like I say, I don't know. 2.5 months, those 3 tangs were in that big tank. not a thing wrong with them at all. And then all of a sudden, the sailfin gets whatever she got, and it virtually wiped out the whole tank. So quarantine, guys, don't let it happen to you. Don't be in this situation. That's all I can say. Anyway, thanks very much for watching. See you on the next one. Bye.
Easy go.